Welcome back to Briggs on Books. We've been having some amazing authors on the show this week from all over the world. Few authors come again and again because we love them and we love their stories. If you're trying to think of the next book to read, check this one out, Spirit of El Paso. We're going to talk about it in a minute, and we're going to talk with the author who, just reading her bio, I get exhausted. She's a veteran of the Army. She's a novelist, screenwriter, producer, model, actress. She loves outdoors, her son, 3 cats. She enjoys hobbies that include, check this out, scuba diving, camping, hiking, horseback riding, a few sports, and extensive travel. Let's see if I can find her. There she is, Michelle Murray. You exhaust me, Michelle, and you're writing books. You're a prolific writer as well.
Hello, how are you? Good afternoon. Let me say thank you so much for having me on. I enjoy so much when I get to chat with you, so thank you for having me on today.
I think it's your 5th time, maybe, so it's nice. You're always welcome here. And by the way,
thanks.
First book I'm going to ask you about is The Spirit of El Paso. Before we get to that, I want to ask you about this. There's a little logo here, and let's see how I get to that. The logo, something Murray Schools?
So we do that too. We have the Murray Micro School for Arts. My son and I launched it. It's exactly a year ago. Next month, about 3 more weeks, will be exactly a year ago. And we help creatives monetize that. Yeah. So we have programs for children, but starting typically around the age of 9 and above. We do have summer programs for younger kids, as well as adult education. And some of those things, they lead to certificates, some lead to diplomas. If they get in one of my writing programs, if they do our Authors Academy, we have one for children as well. They produce a book by the end of the 16-week course that's sold in stores all around the globe. So I'm really excited about that endeavor as well.
I notice, and nothing against this, sometimes the creatives can't get their mind shifted over to marketing and making money.
Right.
You help them do that.
And that's exactly why we started that. I encounter so many highly creative people. They just don't know how to monetize it because they never look at it as a business. They always look at it as, oh, well, it's my hobby, but I want to sell things. Not realizing once they want to sell things, okay, now you have to think like a business. And I tell people a lot of times, particularly the adults, look, if you just want to make things and give it away and spend all your money, you don't need me. But if you're trying to make a living and be blessed financially, then that's where we come in. And, we talk about how to start the business, marketing plans, business plans. I just did a seminar this past weekend on the differences between like marketing and advertising, because they are different. And PR is a third different concept that people just kind of lump it all together. But to be effective, you have to understand those nuances. So yes, we spend a lot of time helping people understand the business environment.
That's great. Yeah, that's good you're doing that because it's very needed in that community. Now let's get to this first book, if it's okay with you. I'm fascinated by it. I've been asking you about it for a little while. Spirit of El Paso. Tell us about the book.
Yes. So, I am super excited for this particular story. I have 2 books coming out about the same time, but this one really excites me probably the most. First and foremost, it is based on a true story. It's based on a sheriff deputy's life, Joe Saldivar. He was an officer for the El Paso County Sheriff's Office for many years. And so if you've never jumped in and done a right seat ride with law enforcement, this book is going to take you on that. He was serving at a time we had 2 serial killers in the area. There were domestic disturbances, there were shootings, there were lots of different things. There were gangs. This takes place in the era, if we remember, when the LA Police Department was really getting hammered for corruption, right? But he was a sheriff, but it's in that same era. So America's eyes are kind of on law enforcement. So everything they do, has heightened sets of eyes on it. But it's also a story of humanity and grace and mercy. And it humanizes the law enforcement officer. So I was really excited to work with Mr. Saldivar and his family to put this together. One of his daughters, Yvette, she helped me immensely to clarify things. And, it's historical information as well. I learned a lot of things that weren't in the newspapers, aren't in the history books. And, now I've been entrusted to put that in a book. So now it's out there and people can learn some of these things.
Yeah. It's amazing because almost everybody has interesting stories behind them.
Mm-hmm.
My own parents finding out my dad went in the Army. I said, what? And did this and did that. Everybody has an interesting story. And sometimes they don't think it's interesting because they did it. They did it.
Exactly.
It's just a normal day in the life. But if you hadn't reached out and worked with this family and got the story down, it would be lost forever.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, I've told him it was so important to me to get this story out because we don't want to lose that history.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose those life lessons, those facts that and also that humanity, right? Because as the generations go on, the younger people, we're kind of an abstract to them, right? And the grandparents and the great-grandparents, they become abstract. But being able to present that book to the world, that makes it real,
Yeah, I think about that. I thought about it all my life growing up. I was just born 15 years after the end of World War II, but it's so abstract to me. Like that's the thing, a million years ago, and the older we get, it gets closer and closer. Can we move on to the next book? Or
yes,
yeah,
sure.
This one I probably won't read, but I will buy because I give away books to nieces, nephews, grandnieces, grandnephews, and this sounds perfect for them. Tell us about Elsa.
So Elsa, the elephant who loves roller derby. So this was also exciting. I've started to foray into children's books as well, but children's books with a message. So these are chapter books. They're not picture books. It's a chapter book. But the theme is resiliency and not listening to the haters and pursuing your dreams, because if you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you desire just about, So the first book in that series is actually Declan the Dancing Dragon. This is book 2 in that series. And I co-authored that with another young lady, Mia Vasquez. And we have a lot of fun with that. We give away a lot of books to healthcare entities, daycare, schools, things like that, because both of us work with children, and we've discovered that many of the younger kids, kindergarten, first, second, third, they've never even held a book, right? They're losing that skill of holding a physical book because they're on a phone, they're on a tablet, they're on a computer. So that's one aspect. We want to put physical books in kids' hands. But also, there's so much cyberbullying, and if they're not being bullied, that phone, that tablet, it brings a lot of things in from the internet that can kind of mess with a kid's head and make them feel inadequate, when they shouldn't feel that way. So we have these characters, and so Elsa, who loves roller derby, is one, and her theme song is kind of what others think of me. That's none of my business, because I'm head and eyes straight forward and I'm pursuing my dreams. And roller derby kind of came up because I do roller derby as well. I love roller derby.
You do so many things. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I love roller derby. Roller derby has, unlike what a lot of people seem to think that, all the roller derby girls get out there and we box each other. That's not true. You'll be ejected. You'll be banned from the sport. But there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of self-esteem building and boosting with roller derby, right? There's you do roller derby and you've met friends for life. You've met your new family. And that's conveyed in that book. And how that type of support system, and even if you don't have that type of support system, it's okay, because what others think of you doesn't matter. You're great on your own, And so that's Elsa's thing, is conveying that message to the younger kiddos.
What ages is this book for?
So I would tell you, starting in about 2nd to 3rd grade is, that's where they get into the chapter books, through about 6th or 7th. Wow. But I will add, we do have adults who read the 2 books in that series, and they love the messaging of it. Do we.
Yeah, I read every book my kids ever read.
Probably 100 times.
Yes. I want to just a note to our viewers if you have a kid between, 7 to 12 or whatever, is that about right? If you have a kid from 7 to 12, something you're going to be doing at least once a month is having to schlep your kid over to some birthday party for one of their friends, and you're not going to have a gift to give. You're going to be scrambling going to the store. So go to wherever this book is sold. We're going to find out in a minute. Order 5 copies, order 10 copies, have a stack of them at your house, and every time there's a birthday party, you're ready. You're ready to go. I do that.
Give the gift of reading. Yeah, so both of these books, so Elsa, the Elephant Who Loves Roller Derby, that book actually, it's available in stores on Black Friday. So nice. Starting at midnight on Black Friday, it's available for sales in stores everywhere, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, wherever you like to get your books. And for the spirit of El Paso, it's also sold everywhere around the globe that books will be sold. But that book launches next Friday, the 7th. You'll be able to start placing orders
December
for
7th,
that and get it in your hands. December 7th.
I'm going to go. I live right by Target. I live right by Walmart. I'm going to go in both and ask for the Elsa book. Do you guys have this on your shelf? Yeah. And then I'll also ask about the El Paso book. Are you going to be able to get that in? I love to do that for our authors. I do a lot of that. So.
Well, we sure appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you so very much. Yeah. So definitely, we want to give the gift of reading to the world, and maybe some of the audience will want to give the gift of reading to their loved ones this season.
Now, I have a web address down, kmpentertainment.org.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and can they order the books there?
No, but they can order at any of those stores I named, Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble actually is giving you an additional 10% off if you order between Black Friday and December 1st. Nice. So I've been kind of pushing Barnes & Noble. I don't work there. Yeah. They're not paying me anything extra. There's another site that thriftbooks.com. They sell new books and used books.
I've heard of
That's
that.
actually one of my favorite stores, but they sell the book new on there for a little bit of a discount as well.
Good. Yeah, I've heard great things. I haven't checked that site out, but I buy a lot of books. I read a lot of books, so thriftbooks.com. So very good. I'm very excited for you. You're so energetic.
Thank you.
And your son, your son is an actor, as I recall.
He is. My son is an actor, and let me tell you, all these books that I'm talking about today, my son designed the cover for both of these books.
Wow.
So I'm super excited for him for that. He's a media designer. He took my money and turned it into a master's degree for media design.
Excellent.
So he makes good use of that as well.
Well, Michelle, you bring a lot of energy. I can tell you're full of energy. Horseback riding and all those things you do, it's just amazing.
Not all on the same day, though.
Any last thoughts for our viewers on the books or any subject you like?
Listen, just again, the gift of reading. It's so important. The gift of, whether it's my book or somebody else's book, I do encourage people to read, bestow that gift upon somebody else. And to you, Mike, I want to say thank you again so much for having me on the show. It's always such a joy to talk with you.
I knew I wanted to ask you about something else. Is there a 50-day screenplay challenge or something like that?
I do. I've written a book called 50-Day Screenplay Challenge. It's actually a few years old, but it's available everywhere books are sold. So if you have anybody in the audience who would like to write a screenplay, but they don't have time to go to school to learn all the nuances, but they've got this story, they want to get it out, 50-Day Screenplay is great, because if you do each activity, and you'll spend about an hour or so a day, but if you do each of those activities listed in the book each day, at the end of those 50 days, you're going to have your first draft of your screenplay.
Amazing. Yeah, I've heard of people that say you need some sort of guide. If you've never done it, you don't know how to do it. So I appreciate you.
It's true. People don't understand TV, film, it's formulaic, right? The truth is there is science behind it. It's structured a certain way, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but it's structured a certain way, and that book will definitely help you to understand that.
Well, Michelle Murray, thank you so much. Check her out at kmpentertainment.org. Find out more about her. She teaches people. She helps people. She's got a lot of energy. Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks so much. You have a great and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
And for our viewers, stick around. We have another guest, another author right after this.